All right, welcome everybody to the virtual parent panel from Merrimack College. I see we have a few more people coming in, so we'll give you a second. All right, I will be your host this evening. My name is Jim Cristiano. I have the pleasure of being part of the undergraduate admission team, serving as the Director of Admission for transfer students. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've heard enough from us admission folk, and we agree with you. So I'm not going to say too much tonight. I'm going to yield to the stars for tonight. Many of them were in the same position you were a few years ago, where their students were starting here at Merrimack, and so they'll be giving you that perspective. So let me start off by congratulating you all. You should all be very proud of your students' accomplishments. We are proud to welcome you all to the Merrimack family. Now, you can't see each other, but we can see everyone who signed up for tonight, and about a quarter of you are officially part of the Merrimack family and looking for tips and guidance. The rest of you are in the countdown stage and helping your student to find the college that is right for them. I hope tonight's conversation will help you to picture your student thriving within Merrimack's wonderful community. Here with me tonight are parents of current Merrimack students who are very excited to share their experiences and answer your questions. So parents, let's start off with some introductions. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your student, where you live, and your student's major and year. Kelly and Jim, why don't we start with you?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. I'm Kelly Calvin, my husband, Jim. Our daughter is Olivia Calvin. She's a freshman in the nursing program at Merrimack. We're from Rutland, Vermont, and hard to believe that the first year is coming to an end here. Excited about this evening.
All right, Veronica, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi, my name is Veronica Hamstreet. We are from Portland, Oregon. Our son Alexander is the class of 2025, and he's studying business, a major in business and English.
And next up, we have Linda.
Hi, I am Linda Kueter. We're from Washington, D.C., and my daughter Molly is a junior. She's a criminology and human development double major with a minor in theology, religious studies.
Last but not least, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn Hemmendinger. My son Tom is a junior, criminal justice major, hoping to do the Merrimack Police Academy in a year and a half. And we are from Mansfield, Mass.
All right, thank you all. So I didn't get a chance to introduce our question and answer function, but I believe some of you have found it already. So feel free to type in a question at the bottom on the Q&A function. So those questions will be first answered or addressed by members of our admission team that are on call and answering questions. So they can give you official answers. If you have questions you'd like to ask our panel, please let us know. But please also be sure to give us your name and your contact information. So if we're unable to answer your question during the panel tonight, an hour goes by very quickly, we're happy to follow up with you. All right, so let's get started. If you can all think back to when you were in the shoes of our guest tonight, starting out, remembering what it was like for your child 1 month away from May 1st, how were you doing with choosing the right institution and what made you choose Merrimack? So Kelly and Jim, can we start with you?
Sure. Yeah, Kelly and I and Olivia, we were looking at a bunch of schools in the Northeast. She wanted to be somewhere fairly close to home, 2 or 3, 4 hours away, but not necessarily in Vermont. And we looked at about 10 schools. We looked at a lot of bigger schools. We looked at schools all over 3, 4 hours away, 2 hours away. And she thought she wanted a big school. She was thinking like a big school, something over 10,000 students, big campus. And that's what she really wanted. But as time got closer, to the May 1st deadline, we decided to, my wife got some contacts from Merrimack. She was accepted at Merrimack, but we never visited. And then my wife, Kelly, says, why don't we go look at Merrimack? And, that's a, campus we haven't seen, and it's about 3 hours away from home. And it's something that, might be a potential fit for you. So one of the things with Olivia, I don't think truly knew what she wanted, but when she got to Merrimack, when we visited, she said to Kelly and I, she's like, this school is for me. I like the feel of this school. It's big, it's not too big, but it's not too small either. And I really like it here. So she was, surprised, I think, how she felt, because she was caught in between to try to figure out what she wanted.
Okay, thank you. Lynn, did you want to take that question as well?
Yeah, Lynn, why don't you take it first? Because you're further away.
That's okay.
We're closer.
Yes, further away. So my son's a junior. So yeah, I actually remember very vividly his decision-making process, and Facebook popped up today. Today was in my memories is the day he made his decision. So it's nice to be here with you guys tonight. So he was looking up and down the East Coast. He knew he wanted to stay East Coast, and he really, he's kind of a reserved, shy kid and didn't want a super big school. So this was right in his sweet spot in terms of size. But he thought he wanted a school down south, and he had just done their accepted student day. And we said, you really should go to Merrimack's accepted student day. You should go, like, it's close to home. It's only an hour away, just go. So anyway, we thought maybe some alien invasion had taken place, because our son, who was not like super into school in high school, could not stop talking about accepted student day. The professors that he met in the criminal justice program in particular, for him, he was talking about, telling us about the classes that he would be in, the internship opportunities that there were, the professors that he met. And it wasn't like there's great food, there's, good sports. He just was really taken by the academics, which I'm telling you was shocking for us. But that was it. Like, that was what sealed the deal for Tom, was meeting the professors and hearing about the classes.
Thank you, Lynn, and happy deposit anniversary. All right. So moving on, let's talk, and I already see some questions about this. I want to talk about their first month or two here, the feedback you heard from their students about Merrimack and some of their experiences, or what do you remember? Linda, would you like to go first?
Sure. The first month or two for us was very unique because Molly had never visited Merrimack. This was the COVID shutdown year, so our visits were all put on hold. And she actually learned most about the school just by phone. Her admissions counselor was hands down patient, because she would pick up the phone and call him as if she would call one of her friends, asking questions and getting more information, which is very unlike her. So I knew there was something special there, and the interaction that they were having felt very authentic to her. And my husband and I looked at each other and we said, already, like, she hasn't stepped foot on the campus and she feels a part of this. They know her more than just whatever her registration ID number is. So when we went to campus, that was the first time we had seen it. And moving her in, I mean, we were a little bit nervous. I mean, she's 500 miles from home. We were leaving her in a place that none of us knew anything about. And they still had some groups helping them move into their dorm rooms. She had never met her roommate. She had gone random to pick a roommate, and was in a foursome in Monacan that year. But clearly from her, like, she felt comfortable. She was excited. Her RA was right there talking to them, getting them the things they needed. She was doing Austin Scholars, and she had talked to some people from that, and, was already ready to go. And I just felt there was a peace. I mean, she was happy, she was comfortable. And I distinctly remember her turning around and saying, I'm going to be fine. And I said, if she feels it, then, how can we not feel it too? And I did that little wave goodbye. And every phone call home those first 2 months, even though there was restrictions on everything. She was meeting new people, she was doing new things, she was just happy. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Kelly and Jim, would you like to share your story?
Sure. So as far as kind of just getting into Merrimack, the move in, kind of like the last story there, the crews came out, help you unload the vehicles, bring all your bags, and everybody overpacks, right? We have refrigerators and microwaves and stuff everywhere. And it's just like, at the end of the day, really, we didn't have anything extra, which blows my mind. But anyway, so Olivia had, for her roommate, she actually had met her at an orientation and thought, okay, we're going to try it. She came, they met each other over the summer, and they were, going to be roommates. And then, unfortunately, in probably the first week, first few days actually, realized that it just wasn't really going to work out for, just different lifestyles, different reasons, nothing crazy. And so right away, Olivia was trying to work things out, and I could tell, she calls my husband and I, and we're going through it. And at the end of the day, it was a pretty smooth transition, working with residential life on, okay, Olivia's gonna find a new roommate or roommates as it is. And she actually ended up staying in the same dorm. She's in the Ash, the honors dorm. And she moved, she was on the 3rd floor, and then she moved to the 1st floor with 3 other suite mates, and they're all like best friends now. And it was a situation that could have been very difficult. I mean, it was very difficult. It's her freshman year, and but it really went, I'd like to just add that it really went very smooth transition between my husband and I, Olivia, and all the folks at Merrimack, just helping make that transition. So that was a very positive experience.
Thank you. And Kelly, you kind of mentioned it just for our audience. The move-in experience for freshmen at Merrimack is pretty unique. We have many volunteer students are available, and when you pull up, you get into a line and you get to pull up in your dorm, 6 cars at a time, and we unload your car for you. And I say we, staff volunteers as well. There's a challenge to how many mini fridges somebody can carry in one day up the stairs. So we bring all that stuff. It's been compared to ants on a picnic, the way we go for your car. So we'll give you plenty of tips and advice. And parents, please back me up on this, on how to pack things and label them and have them ready. But our goal is that we're there for you. We're helping you with the move in. So. All right, Veronica, would you like to share your story?
Yes,
come
it
from pretty far
felt
away.
so welcoming from the time we got into campus. Like Kelly said, there was a bunch of people that just came, grab your bags from the car, and you just follow them to the dorm. And at that time, Alexander was going to have a roommate that he met through the orientation. But I guess it turned out that his family didn't want to get vaccinated. And at that time, it was one of the requirements that everybody had to have the vaccine. So he was unable to come. So my son stayed the whole year in his dorm by himself. But he was fine with that. He had probably the best dorm that there is in Merrimack. It was looking at the football field, the track, and he had his own bathroom. Which I know you are like in a suite here, lucky pop. Anyway, the community, everybody, the staff, the students, so welcoming and so embracing and caring that I can't say enough. For us to have our kid 2,000 miles away from home, it doesn't feel that way because we know the people at Merrimack care, and they are there for the students. Students are not just a number; they are people that are cared for, and it's just wonderful welcoming. So we were the parents that didn't want our kid to go to Merrimack. He wanted to go there. We thought, it's too far. It's like he never been away from home. So we figured, but the time we went there for the open house, that's when he said, this is the place I want to be. For sure, I think I will be fine here. And he's happy, and we are delighted that our son is there.
Thank you, Veronica. And in hearing these stories, just getting those memories back of how things were during COVID, and the changes we had to make, but also helped us focus on what was important for our students and seeing all the support they needed. And that's something that's always been important to us, but also helped us to enhance it. We invest a lot in academic coaching and support here. Tutoring is important for us, accessibility services, time management, and most of those you'll find on the third floor of our library for our students to utilize at no extra fee at Merrimack.
Mhm.
Can we mind talking a little bit about what that has meant for your students as far as the supports? And I feel like a teacher, I keep calling on people, so if you want to just jump in, you can.
Yeah, I think in our case with Olivia, she's taking advantage of the honors study areas as well as the library. She's got at least 2 or 3 different places that she likes to study besides being in the dorm room, and going to the library, going to the honors commons. Honors commons, you can see other students that you take classes with. You can study with them. You have whiteboards. You have access to other tools that can help you along the way and answer questions and that type of thing. So she's had a great experience with that.
Yeah, I'll weigh in. There's a writing center that I know Molly has taken advantage of, where they can bring projects that they're working on at any stage, whether it be the beginning when they're just trying to outline, or right down to the final draft. And upperclassmen and other groups will help them get through the writing process and critique a little bit. She loves that. That's been a huge support. And also, there's a lot of common spaces. Austin Scholars have a similar space to the honors program, where just groups can get together and they can, it helps their time management, I think, when they're working together, doing group projects or just doing independent work, keeping each other on track. That's a big help to them.
Yeah, having the counselors at the Success Center is very helpful for our son who is a procrastinator, has been keeping him on track, and he is right there with all his the schoolwork. And so it has been a blessing to have that Success Center there.
Yeah, and my son, wasn't, procrastinator is a good word for it. So, high school was a little bit rocky, but he was part of the Compass program his freshman year and had an academic Compass advisor and extra supports, and just gave him the confidence that he needed to, be a successful independent college student. And he did go to the writing center, but as I said to some of you folks beforehand, not as much as I wish he would. The writing center is there, and they should all take advantage of it.
We have a writing center and a math center. Writing center is great when you're working on a term paper, and they'll help you with that. Math center asked me to remind students and families that when students come in with a math problem that they have to do for homework, they won't help them with that program. They won't do their homework for them. They'll find a problem that is similar to it and walk them through the steps. So they're very strict about that, but they want to make sure they're learning. That is the goal. All right, so we heard a little bit about our academic cohorts, the honors program, Compass program, and Austin Scholars. So those are some of our groups on campus, as well as hearing that there's support for all students, whether you're in a cohort or not. You have a lot of great opportunities here. But with so many wonderful colleges to choose from and so many great opportunities for your students and for our guests tonight, what sets Merrimack apart? And, when you think about their support here, their journey at Merrimack, and setting them up for the next level, which is the goal for education, is getting you ready for that next level.
I'll jump in on that one, because one of the first things I did with Molly was tell her, go through the website, look at everything that Merrimack has, and pick 3 things that you want to do. 3 things you've never tried before, be it a club or an intramural or just something, just to give her something to look forward to when she got there. And I remember her coming downstairs one day and saying, Austin Scholars. Austin Scholars is everything that, she'd done service all through high school, and she's like, it does that. And it's just a group. It'll make the school feel a little bit smaller if I can get into that group. And when I say our whole family lives and breathes Austin Scholars, because from the day she was there, she became a freshman rep and met her best friends through that. Next year, she's the chair of underclass engagement, or whatever the words are on that one. But so the freshmen coming in will definitely get a chance to meet Molly. But one of the things that I really like about it is also given her a chance to work with the adult community at Merrimack. I mean, she has been at dinners at the president's office. She's been working with campus police. She's been working with, admissions and campus ministry. And she has a friend group, but this has given her a group of adults that she has to interact with on a very professional level to get her ideas through the programming that Austin Scholars want to do. And it's really been a wonderful step towards looking ahead at, you're going to graduate and go into the real world. And this is the beginnings of that. This is how you're going to interact with professionals, on this level. So that's been a really wonderful program for her. And, I'm proud that she was able to take it and really put herself into it and make something of it. So it's a great program for anybody whose children are considering that.
Yeah, and I can jump in. One of the things that really set Merrimack apart for us was the Compass program. My son was a little bit of a late bloomer, and the academic supports that provided, and allowing him to sort of, like, I was asking him, what was it about Compass that you liked so much? And he said, it really gave me a chance to get organized, get my head right, and like do college the right way. And but another thing I wanted to make sure to point out was the internship opportunities. And for him, that was something that I remember him talking to us about, the internships from the accepted student day. And now, like, in a blur, we're 3 years later, and he is actually doing an internship with our local police department this summer in Mansfield, coupled with an online internship program course that, they have to take. So it's been wonderful to see, that vision that he had, 3 years ago, and here we are about to start the internship.
Okay, thank you. So those of you joining us tonight, please continue to submit questions that you'd like us to answer. I know one theme that comes about a lot as parents, we're about safety and security. Can anyone share any stories, any feedback on the security on campus and just the atmosphere in general on campus, or what you've seen or heard from your students?
Well, I have to tell a story about my son that happened in the winter of last year. Probably was one of the coldest days that the East Coast had, where some students were found dead, or some people found dead, outside a house or something. My son took a train that day and he fell asleep. When he got into the end of the train, the stop, he realized there was no way he could get back. There were no more trains. The train stopped there, and that was the last ride for the train. So he started walking, and it was super cold. His phone didn't have any more, charge. So he started walking for several miles, and he realized he was getting super cold. But he saw a small police station there on that road, and he stopped and knocked on the door in, and he told them he was a student from Merrimack, and he was lost. He didn't know where he was. And the police called Merrimack. Merrimack immediately contacted them, the back, and they said, we're going to have one of the sergeants from the Merrimack come and meet you halfway, because he was in New Hampshire, someplace there. So the school immediately met, halfway. They got my son back. It was just like, we didn't know until the next day, because the school, didn't contact us, told Alexander, you need to tell your parents what happened. You need to tell them the story. Anyway, we were so relieved, because when we saw the news, how cold it was and what could have happened, we are forever thankful and grateful that Merrimack acted, very quickly. Like I say, the students are cared for. I don't mean they are babysitters, but but if something like that happens, there's somebody there that cares for your child. And we are 2,500 miles away, so it's not like we can just, drive there or something. So that was something that my husband and I were very thankful, very appreciative forever with Merrimack.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share any notes or about the security, safety on campus? Or also we can get into health services on campus. I know that's been a big question as well. Hamel Health Center and the availability in those cases.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on safety a little bit, certainly it's always a concern, I think, for everyone, especially nowadays. The blue light on campus, very similar to a lot of other places, a lot of other schools and whatnot. But it's, they're strategically placed. If you look on campus and no matter where you are, you'll see the blue lights. And our daughter feels very safe there. Like my husband said, she does a lot of studying in the library on her common. She's leaving her dorm at different hours to study and, typically with friends and whatnot, but still, she has that comfort level. She's not, she never really feels afraid or anything like that, which is great. And so that was, that's an important piece to making us feel better, of course, that if she's comfortable, then I have to, back off a little bit as a mom and be like, okay, she's doing okay and life's good. And I think that, for her to have that comfort level is phenomenal. So it just makes the whole transition a heck of a lot easier for sure.
I echo that. I think we are blessed with an amazing police department. And as Chief Bill Greco likes to always tell families and remind them, it is a fully functional police department on campus. So they have full services, they are fully trained, they are officers. And their approach is simple. Since it is a close-knit community, they want to get to know everybody. That way they can know if they're, something that doesn't look right. And an important part of that is establishing relationships with students. And that goes right down to our smallest officer, Mary, who is our comfort dog on campus, and she has her own swag now. She has coffee mugs, T-shirts, even little stuffed Marys on campus. So if you see her on campus, or you might see, or you can follow her on Instagram. You can see that with her handler Chuck, who's one of our police officers. Okay. Can anybody share any information about health and safety, the Hamel Health Center, and that process? Just, I think a big question we get this time of year is just getting all the health forms in and getting everything settled before orientation and move-in. If you remember those fun MAC tests that we gave you.
I don't remember those. We haven't really had to deal with Hamel Health very much for my daughter, but she had a friend who has a chronic health condition. And so in our relationship with her, we've realized just how helpful it's been to have services nearby. One, the accommodations for both housing and for academic reasons, but also now Hamel Health has its own facility directly across the street from campus. So I know Molly's been back and forth there with her friend, and they have everything there from on-site strep tests, and they can do all the testing and everything right there. Or if her friend often has to have blood work done, and they can do it on site and send it to the labs that her insurance works through, because she's also an out-of-state student. So, I think really they'll find a way to accommodate lots of different needs that the students have. So, from our secondhand bit, I know it's been wonderful for them.
Yeah, we haven't had to deal with it either, so I don't have much to add there.
That's a good thing.
That's good. All right. Okay. See if we have any other questions from our audience. Nothing yet. I guess we could skip to our big final statements, which are, is there what advice would you give to parents, or if you can rewind to yourself coming in when you were in their shoes a few years ago?
I was a little afraid to send my kid that far away. And I think if I know what I know now, I will be way more relaxed and feel, better about leaving him there. Because I remember the first night when we took him there, we stayed another extra night just in case he had a second talks or he decided that was not the right place and we could fly home together. But, after he called us, and I'm fine, I'm having a great time here. So I think trust Merrimack. I think if you have your kids at Merrimack, they will be fine. The school is very embracing and caring, and just trust your kid. If he wants to go there and he's happy, just relax a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a little bit off track, but we didn't really get a chance to talk about like the fun things our kids do. And I just wanted to bring up, like, obviously the location you can't beat. You've got the mountains. My son is an avid snowboarder and literally was in Vermont, New Hampshire, or Maine for the past 4 months. But this weekend we'll be at the beach because we're about to have great weather. And so whether you're involved on campus in sports or not, there's so much to do. They go into Boston all the time. They, went to the school hockey game at the Garden. The school had a game. So there's just a lot of really nice things to do being Metro West. You're not in the city, but it's close, and you've got the mountains and you've got the beach. So I just wanted to mention that. But in terms of like advice, well, I was a helicopter parent in high school, and constantly worried, did he get his test done? Did he do his homework? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like that for like the first month of school, college. And what I would say is definitely, if you choose Merrimack, trust in Merrimack. It's a small enough community. The faculty cares, the professors care, the advisors care. And like, I just don't worry anymore. I don't helicopter parent at all. I trust my student, and that would be my guidance.
And my advice would be, like I was saying, really encourage your child to think about some things that they see at Merrimack that they would like to do, be it something that they've been doing through high school that's a passion for them, or something that they've never had a chance to explore. I mean, there's a lot of new things, and really just encourage them to be open. This is such a big step for them in a new environment with people well beyond, the scope that they've had in high school before. They're going to meet people from all over. They're going to meet students. They're going to meet faculty, administration. They're going to have a number of activities there. One of the fun things they do, like there's a newsletter that comes out just before the weekend. It comes to every student, and they have an app for campus that just outlines dozens and dozens and dozens of things. And, everything from going to the sports games that's free to going to a bingo night, or, they've had like petting zoos, and just, there's so many neat things on campus. Be open to all of it. Go. That's the way you're going to meet all of these new people. Even if it's not something that you think you would enjoy, go to it anyway. Meet, talk to the people next to you, and be open to all these new experiences, because it will really help them open their worlds to all that Merrimack is offering for them.
Yeah, we would agree to everything that everyone has always, I've already said tonight. We told Olivia, you're a sponge. Go have fun. You try, go to the clubs, go to touch upon the sports. Olivia was an athlete in high school, and Division I sports, she really got into hockey. She actually went to a volleyball game the other day. She'd never really been, to a college volleyball game. She's like, Mom, it was pretty cool. The bingo, I think we had more fun at the bingo. She loves bingo, but I think as parents, we had a great time, and as a freshman, I know they sound like smaller activities, but take advantage of the movie nights and, the friendship bracelet making, and they just did an Easter egg hunt with a lot of cool gifts in it. They have a new student center with a bowling alley now, and there's just so many things tied into the awesome professors and the academics and the safety and the location, and it's just so just like everyone said, just trust it. It's there. Listen to your son or daughter and help them make that decision, but ultimately you can't go wrong. It's been a great experience, and like I said earlier, hard to believe the first year is almost still coming to an end here. So
I think I will ask the parents to come and visit campus, because when you are there and you see it, how beautiful, how clean, how neat everything is, you will know the quality, the quality of the school. So.
All right, thank you. And seems a few questions have come in, but Kelly, you mentioned the activities on campus. What we really try to do is make sure we have a lot of things on the weekend. Would you all agree with me that we're not really a suitcase campus that empties out on the weekend? Do you see your kids on the weekend?
no, I mean, Olivia, like you said, being a freshman, the first semester, just getting through the roommate switch and all that, of course, I'd be lying if there wasn't a little, okay, we're going to figure this out. And once we did that, and then after, Christmas break, that next thing you know, it's Christmas break already. And this, semester, Olivia's an ambassador. And so besides all the clubs she's in, we hear from her and we text and whatnot. And she's like, Mom, I can't talk right now. I've got this and that and those, and I have a meeting, I have to go. And, it's just, it's so fun to hear that excitement in her voice, and the friendships that she is, that are evolving all the time. And it's just a cool thing.
We've had the nice happy medium because, again, being so far from home, Molly can't come home on weekends. So she has to find things there to do, and certainly has never had a problem with that. There's a campus shuttle that takes them to the grocery stores and the local banks and everything. So she can do all of the errands that, she doesn't have a car there or anything, but can easily find ways to do that. And I wasn't really thinking that first sort of long weekend in the fall, we were just like, oh, it's a long weekend. She seems happy. She didn't want to come home, but being somewhat of a regional school, a lot of kids did go home. And I was thrilled for the number of her friends who were more local, who invited her with them. Or if their friends, if their parents come up on weekends to do things with them, they invite her to tag along and go to dinner. Or there was just an honor ceremony that she had 2 local friends whose parents were able to come. Naturally, we weren't able to come, but they took her out to dinner to celebrate and took pictures and sent them to us. And we've never met these people, but they feel like friends because I think they understand that it's what they would want someone to do for their child, and they're doing it for those of us, who can't be there for our kids for holidays or whatever. And so that's a really good feeling to know that being close and being far, it's not necessarily needing to be one or the other.
All right, we've mentioned a lot of fun activities. We alluded to sports, so you opened the door, so I'll talk about it a little bit. This was an exciting year for us in sports, as we are in the final year of our 4-year transition to Division I. So slowly we've been able to compete a little bit more, and next year we will be able to fully compete and be able to get into national tournaments for all of our sports except for hockey, which has been Division I since 1989. So this year we saw football, men's basketball, and men's ice hockey all reached the conference finals for their conference. Men's basketball team actually won their conference, but because of the rules, they were not allowed to take that automatic seed into the NCAA tournament. And the team they beat, Fairleigh Dickinson, you might have heard of. I think we in Purdue were the only ones that weren't happy for their Cinderella story, but we were happy for them a little bit. So it's been an exciting year. We're looking forward to that next year. So we've talked about all the great opportunities on campus, is all the clubs, all the assets. But one question that we have received, I want to ask you, put it to you parents, if we could share some of the not so nice experiences. We talked about, some of the struggles we all had during COVID and how things were on campus. But any other not so nice experiences and how what the school did, what Merrimack did to correct or mitigate the situation.
Yeah, I can jump in with one. My son lives in the campus housing, but it's part of an apartment complex across the street from the school. And they had an incident where someone entered one of the buildings and they weren't authorized to be there. So it was a security incident. We all got notifications immediately from the school, and ultimately there's cameras now throughout the building. But that was a not so nice experience in terms of, the fact that somebody was able to get into the building in the first place. But a bad situation was turned into a positive by the mitigations that were put in place afterwards.
Thank you, Lynn. Speaking of Royal Crest Apartments, which is an apartment complex right across the street from campus where our walkway goes to, and it's actually kind of in between now where our East Campus is, where the new Science and Engineering Center for Innovation and Research is located. So we see a lot of students are open to live there, especially the science and engineering students, but it is still a shared complex. So yeah, that was a scary moment.
We didn't really, not so much an emergency situation and not necessarily COVID, but when Molly was a freshman, was one of her whole building shut down for COVID. And she was one of the few who wasn't able to go home, again, because of the distance. And we were on our way to get her, and then she was diagnosed and they said, please don't take her home. And Merrimack had called and assured us that they had a facility in place that they could quarantine, but it was the little day-to-day things that really nobody could plan for. And one day the delivery came, campus police used to come every day and drop off her mail to her to make sure that she was still, getting little things. They would bring her iced coffee in the morning and drop off mail. And one day her meal came, and Father Dan was in charge of checking in on her through a Zoom call multiple times a day. And, he just, in making polite conversation, said, oh, what did you get for dinner? And she explained what it was. And one of the ingredients was something she's allergic to. And he said, oh, please don't eat it. Please don't eat it. She said, no, it's not an anaphylactic thing. I, might just get hives or something, but I'm not going to eat it, but it'll be fine. He said, no, really, Molly, I would rather you not eat it. I'll make arrangements. Don't you worry. Within 15 minutes, he was there knocking at the door and leaving a package. He had made dinner at the Friary. What they were eating, they packaged up and brought to her, and with a note from all of the friars, and, hoping that she felt better, with a full ingredient list because they were thinking of that. It was just the thoughtfulness of something that was, happening that was a little bit out of the ordinary, but they were responding to it right away. And, she was in quarantine for 3 weeks, and they took care of every need through it, whether it be an academic department or the police department. It truly was like how Merrimack thinks on its feet, and what does this child need, and how are we going to make sure she gets it? And I mean, if that didn't seal the deal right there, it was good, very good. It made a very negative experience into actually a positive one.
Anyone else? I don't want to cut anyone off.
Well,
I do have
I
another
guess
question, right? Yep.
the only complaint I get from my son sometimes is like the food isn't great sometimes. That's all, according to him, but he's a picky eater, so I don't know. But that's it.
Let's bring it to the group. Let's talk about the food. We know it's an important part of it. We make sure, if you come from one of our mid-student days, which I'll be talking about later, or even just for a campus visit, we want you to try the food. So
I think I'm a terrible cook because Molly likes the food. And the new student center. I'm hearing all about Monica's Kitchen.
Oh, yes, that's the best part.
Right next to the bowling alley.
Monica,
Yep.
you got to come through for us, St. Monica here, because whatever her recipes were need to be passed down through those generations. But it's also something probably worth pointing out too, that there's a number of food trucks that come on campus that the students can use, and they're either free for the students or they can use their food swipes. But that's been really helpful because Molly works at the bookstore. And so oftentimes isn't able to get to the dining hall during regular meal hours. So, having things like Monica's Kitchen and the little pop-up places, there's another one at the library, and the food trucks helps her be able to get, really a true full-size meal at times that are not necessarily dining hall related. So that's been, and it gives them some nice, good variety. And, I think they feel, good being able to get something off the food truck. And, it's less than sitting in the dining hall meal after meal after meal.
So my son's a foodie. Like, he just likes his, lobster and caviar kind of kid. And it's one of the reasons he ended up at the apartments we were talking about, Royal Crest. I wouldn't recommend that for a freshman. I don't even know if that's an option for a freshman, but it's something to think about for like a subsequent years. They have a kitchen. So like, my husband and I might be eating chicken for the 5th time in a row, and Tom's like making a steak. So, that's an option for some of the kids that like to cook.
I know for our daughter, Olivia, she's in the student government, and one of her tasks that she went out for is she's actually on the food committee. So she has weekly meetings about the food on campus. And it's been, because she's a foodie and she does food blogs, and if you went on to TikTok, you would see a lot of her food blogs that she does. And, it's just great that she can be a voice for, some of her friends, for obviously other, all the students on campus, always working on getting different items on the menu. They just got some new grilled chicken that she said's phenomenal. I mean, she's always like, talking about all the different things, and then they're at least willing to try it. So that's pretty cool.
Another big hit for the food that we hear about a lot is Taco Tuesdays. Seems to be the best thing for most of the kids. And they made a change recently. I'm not sure when, but they had one line for a long time. And Olivia, I think, was part of the team or discussion or somehow they're like, oh, how about we do 2 lines? So now for Taco Tuesday, to have the kids go through quicker, they have 2 lines set up, and that seems to be a big hit on campus.
So our point to that story really is that your student, might have a thought, and then they can get involved and then actually see it, a change happen. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we definitely ask for feedback, or dining services does. They do a great job. They have an on-site dietitian. So if there are any eating concerns, allergy concerns, they are there for you. And we do have options and accommodations there as well. And I think one of the silver linings from COVID was, we wanted to avoid everybody going to one big dining hall. So we created more pockets on campus, and eventually we were able to create Monica's Kitchen. But we also have locations in the library. We have locations in the athletic complex throughout campus. The weather's getting nice now, so we have a stone grill outside that is an option, and they're all meal swipes, and staff and faculty, we all eat the food too, and we like it. But yeah, we like to give suggestions to it as well. So one question we did get, thinking back to move-in day, or maybe a few days after it, any packing tips, anything you wish you would have packed more of, or maybe you would have left in the car, or picked up the next time you went to visit, or they brought back the next time they came? Because I think a lot of people overpack, and that's okay. I remember doing that too. So
the first year we packed lots of clothes. And this year, he said, Mom, I don't need all that, because a lot of stuff I don't even wear. So we reduced the amount of clothes by just probably half of whatever he took the first year, because they have
Yeah.
a washer machine there, so they can.
It's a good time to encourage them to be minimalist, for
Yes.
sure. I think they find it's a casual campus. They love to just be in their kind of sport clothes, running around. They're, running in and out of the different buildings all the time. So, they don't need a lot of things. They can certainly buy anything. There's a number of shopping centers nearby to be able to get things. Typical, I think most of the freshman dorms, they're probably mostly in Monacan and Ash and those buildings. They're an older style cinder block one, extension cords that have the surge protector on them for safety reasons in the group setting, but they're the plugs aren't always strategically located when it's tucked down beside your bed that you have elevated to like 13 feet off the ground. I don't know how they get in there. Extension cords and a window fan. That was definitely something that they liked to, especially in the, if they're in a quad unit that has like a little central living area and 2 bedrooms, to keep the ventilation moving between all of them. The laundry is accessible in all of the dorms, so that's easy enough for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was worried about like, what are we forgetting? What are we forgetting? And the thing is, like Linda was just saying, there's places close by. And even if your student doesn't have a car on campus, there's the bus transportation and probably a student that does have a car on campus, and their roommate will have what they don't have. So I didn't find there was anything that was lacking. You probably all know these tips already, but like we packed a lot of his clothes in these long, low, like Tupperware things that became space for him to put shoes and stuff in under his bed. So like a really long Tupperware thingy is a good idea. But I can't think
The mailroom works really well, and they can get Amazon packages.
Yes.
So, that the timing of that it's a very quick turnaround. So even when it's a 1-day delivery, it's not like it takes 5 days to make it through the mailroom. And the students all have their own mail stop number. So it's very easy, to send things or for them to order things that way as well.
I would also add bringing a small step stool helps, especially for the freshman dorm. They like to hang things up pretty high, and depending how the room is, that came in handy. Your normal toolbox, command strips, tape, more tape. It's like, it's like you never know, have enough tape, right? But yeah, I think.
And we do have a suggestion list that orientation will send out for moving. So I just want to make sure we covered all the gaps in that and any advice you had. And there's also the bookstore too. They buy a lot of Merrimack gear as well, so which we love to see. So one final question I got on here from a family that's going to be attending our next and final admitted student day. What would you recommend? What is a must see on campus? What would you recommend that they go to see on campus when they visit?
I would say the student center, certainly, both from the old, the SAC, as the kids call it, with the, the dining hall and everything that, but also the new, we haven't been able to see the new student center. So we're just seeing pictures and some of the online clips, but those are the spaces that your students really going to spend a lot of time. So, it's kind of nice to have a feel when they, say they're, where they're going around campus. So those would be 2 spaces that I think would be important for the whole family to check out.
I would also say, if if your student knows what they want to major in or knows what they're going to specialize in, like for my son, who's a little bit of an anxious kid and has sometimes transition issues, like seeing where his classes were going to be as a criminal justice major, like going into that building. So whether it's, nursing, but you will be able to figure out depending upon your students' interests, like where they'll probably be focused. And for my son, actually seeing it was super helpful.
And I think for us, like I said, our daughter's finishing up her freshman year. We were one of those families that, we were right down to the wire before giving our deposit for May 1st. So we did go to the last admitted student day at Merrimack. In fact, it was something that, I don't know, don't you think it was great peace for us and our daughter. And it's never too late. So don't be, of course we're all stressed out, but just go there with an open mind, just relax. And, hopefully your son or daughter will have that aha moment that our daughter had. And I said, to my husband, like, this is it. This is where she wants to go. And, like he had already mentioned, we'd already seen a lot of places, and Merrimack's been a great fit for her. And it's okay if it's right down to the wire. This is a big decision. So no pressure.
All right. Thank you. And Linda, I read between the lines, you'd like us all to meet for a bowling tournament. That's fine. I can make a reservation. Lane 2. Be a good reunion. Any final thoughts? Go Warriors.
Yes.
I think the biggest thing was that you trust the process and trust the
Mhm.
people at Merrimack, because the first time I heard my daughter say that somebody was her campus mom or her campus dad, like I just felt that piece that there are so many people there who will take care of them, and encourage your child to advocate for themselves, to ask when they need something, and trust that there is somebody there who not just will help them, but wants to help them. And that's something that I've just gotten such a clear feeling through our years there, is that these professors, these administrators, they really want to help these kids. And that's a wonderful feeling. And I think it helps, that your son or daughter has made a good choice when, the whole family can feel like that. So, really, really encourage them to do that.
Yeah, and my parting message would be to listen to your student. Like all of us, our kids knew, it sounds like, at least mine and a few of yours knew this was where they wanted to go. They had that aha moment. And we certainly hope that your student selects Merrimack, because we're so happy with the decision that was made. But if it isn't Merrimack, just trust your student, and you want them to be happy and successful. So good luck with that decision, and I'm sure they'll make the right choice for them.
All right. I'm sure we can keep talking much longer. We only have a few minutes left. So I want to thank our guests tonight for coming. And I want to thank you all for joining us as well. We're happy to continue these conversations during our events. We have a few coming up. The big one is this Sunday, April 16th, is our final admitted student day for 2023. We also have a virtual admitted student day. That's going to be Wednesday, April 19th. And also not too early to start signing up for a new student orientation, which includes parent programming as well. So some of the resources for you and your students. If your student is wondering how they can meet other admitted students or find future roommates, we encourage them to join the class of 2027 Facebook group. For my transfer students, we also have we still have active class groups for 2026 and 2025. You can register for upcoming on-campus event visits if you haven't already. We still have our general tours and information sessions, so you can go to our visit page or the admitted student page. If you have any follow-up questions, your student's admission counselor is still your main Merrimack point of contact all the way until they start classes in the fall and beyond in some cases, but you're going to have plenty of other people that you can work with then as well that you'll be meeting throughout the summer and during orientation. But anything in the meantime, feel free to reach out to your counselors or any of us in the admission staff. We're happy to answer any questions or connect you with some of our wonderful partners on campus. Lastly, how to choose Merrimack. If you are ready to make that commitment and submit the enrollment deposit, you can do that online, by mail, or if you're coming to admitted student day, we're going to be taking deposits there as well. For commuter students, the deposit is $500. For residential students, the deposit is $700. Now, this is part of your student tuition bill amount, so that's actually gets applied towards your initial bill at Merrimack. And it holds your will hold your spot as a student in the class. So if you can't find it on the portal, you can also go to merrimack.edu/deposit. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope this was helpful and hope everyone has a great night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.